So we now know who the shooter was, but what we didn't know until today was who he worked with and who knew about him and how deep his political ties really ran. This man had official connections. He had a planned escape, and now seems like a network of silence around some of these facts. Let's go and get to it.
I know that people will be hurt by that vote, and we worked very hard to try to get a budget deal that wouldn't include that provision.
DFL Speaker Emerita Melissa Hortman emotional following the House's adjournment from a special session Monday. Hortman was the lone DFL lawmaker to cast a vote to cut Minnesota Care access for undocumented immigrants. It's a move she made with a heavy heart.
I did what leaders do. I stepped up and I got the job done for the people of Minnesota.
The bill was deeply unpopular with members of the DFL caucus. Members have repeatedly expressed frustration that the bill was part of a compromise, one that would ensure the necessary GOP votes to pass the rest of the state budget.
We are tremendously disappointed and gut-wrenched at this decision, at this compromise that compromises our communities that are most vulnerable.
Hortman knows she let down her own caucus members with the vote.
They're right to be mad at me. I think some of them are pretty angry. I think that their job was to make folks who voted for that bill feel like crap, and I think that they succeeded.
Over in the Senate, a similar situation unfolded. Senate Majority Leader Erin Murphy forced to vote for a bill she too disagreed with to uphold the integrity of their compromise.
This one hurt. This one is a wound because of its reason. My colleagues across the aisle set this as their number one priority.
Asked whether the move would drive a wedge between her and the rest of her caucus, her DFL colleague, Senator John Marty, quickly stepped to her defense.
As a member of the caucus, yes, sir, she clearly was fighting against that every step of the way. In the negotiations, if we wanted a budget, we had to agree to that. She agreed to put up one vote for us because of that.
Reporting in St. Paul, I'm Quinn Gorham.
So Melissa Hortman, the Speaker of the Minnesota House, was a loyal Democrat, but right before her death, she voted against her own party on the key immigration bill. Now, we covered this video in the last video, but here I want to zoom in on the full clip and get some more context as to, and more nuance as to what's going on surrounding the situation. But I do want you to ask yourself, what kind of fear silences someone right before the world finds out the truth? Was she feeling pressure, regret, or was she scared? But wasn't she the only one under pressure? The cracks were already showing, y'all.
Love your neighbor means all of our neighbors.
This is State Senator Bonnie Wesland, another Democrat from Minnesota, stood up in one session and said, a gun was put to her head. Let me go ahead and rewind it back for y'all.
Love your neighbor means all of our neighbors, regardless of where they come from, what they look like, who they love. This is a shameful day in this body. And I'm angry, and I will wrap up, Mr. President. I am angry because my majority leader had a gun put to her head. And she's going to take a vote on this, knowing that her caucus does not support this because she wants to make sure this budget is passed. It is a shameful day, Mr. President. Love your... Of
course, I'm not too familiar with much of this state senator's past at all either. All of this is becoming to me as well. But that line, a gun was put to her head. Now, that line, you know, obviously, I think she meant it to be metaphorical, but after the assassination of Hortman just days later, it feels more like this was a warning that nobody took seriously in some capacity. This is me just observing. I'm not concluding anything. If multiple people in the same party feel threatened, that's not paranoia, that's a pattern. And yet nobody moved. Why? Because, could it be because they already knew who the threat was? All the speculation right now, y'all. This is just how my thought process is working. So let's talk about the man who made that warning a reality. Vance Bolter. Right here it says, new photos show Minnesota suspect Vance Bolter, who appears to be wearing a mask and impersonating a police officer, attempting to enter the home of Senator John Hoffman after fatally shooting Rep. Melissa Hortman and her husband. Bolton remains at large. So, yeah, the mass shooter, he wasn't... So it says that he wasn't caught randomly. He was spotted just days after the murder. Well, yeah, disguised as a fake cop. Knocking on another Minnesota's lawmaker's door. John Hoffman, my fault, y'all. Y'all see me still taking in all the information as well. I'm still learning just like y'all. I'm not the guy, or I'm not a reporter or journalist who's going to sit here and act like I have all the answers when I make mistakes. Y'all see them in real time. But what I'm saying is this was a calculated second attempt. Same outfit, same strategy. And how many other names was on that list? Didn't they say 70? How far was he willing to go? That's when the Manhunt hit full throttle. A local neighbor living near Bolter's hideout gave his interview while federal agents combined in the area and combed through everything that they could see.
I just got a call early in the morning saying the car was found at 301st, which is right next to my farm. They run right down here, and that they'd be searching the place. And just an hour ago or so, I got a text asking if they could set up a command unit thing there. So that's all I know. And yeah.
Do they think he's on foot? Do you know?
No idea. That's all I know.
That's crazy. Your property, though.
Very crazy. So yeah.
One of the other ladies down there was saying, it's like a farm community. People leave their doors open and cars open and that kind of thing.
Yep. The gal from the BCA was here talking to me earlier and kind of wanted to know the terrain and what I had at the farm there. And I had to tell them there was a camper in a nice house and she wanted to know how to get into them. And told her they were unlocked and we kind of told her between me and the neighbor that there is an old abandoned house up on the hill there that's sort of hard to access to sort of an FYI for them.
Someone was saying something that they heard shots in the early. Have you heard anything about that?
That's what I heard too. A gentleman was up late at night just to step outside and he was awakened by a couple of shots. So he says.
Well, I'm sorry it's happening right in your. Can't go home right now. I guess
Yeah, man. The look on his face says it all. This wasn't just a manhunt. This was a lockdown. I mean, with reason. Bolter wasn't just a runaway. I mean, well, yeah, he's not just a runaway. He's a ghost with a plan right now. Why was a guy with no official job treated like a national threat? But he wasn't some random activist, was he? And who exactly were they chasing? Well, turns out the killer actually had a resume. Bolter wasn't just some loner. He was the CEO of a company called Red Lion Group. Yup. Only problem is the company didn't exist. No business filings, no physical office, no employees, just a name and a smoke screen. I guess you don't need a real job when your job is political intimidation. Makes me wonder how many fake businesses like this are floating around covering for operations that we never hear about. But the plot thickens when you meet his wife. So, Bolter's wife, Jenny Bolter, worked directly for Governor Tim Walz, the Democrat governor of Minnesota, y'all. She wasn't just some passive spouse either. She had power, access, payroll clearance. So the killer was married to a government employee who worked for the same administration the victim belonged to. What are the odds that a political killer's spouse is on the state payroll unless there's more to the story? This wasn't just guilt by association. It was proximity to power. In the words Walz said weeks ago, well, a while ago, is now starting to get resurfaced and go viral all over again. Sounds more dangerous than ever. Y'all remember when he said he was friends with shooters?
Senator, thank you. Governor, you previously opposed an assault weapons ban, but only later in your political career did you change your position. Why?
Yeah, I sat in that office with those Sandy Hook parents. I've become friends with school shooters. I've seen it. Look, the NRA, I was an NRA guy for a long time. They used to teach gun safety. I'm of an age where my shotgun was in my car so I could pheasant hunt after football practice.
Senator, thank you. Governor.
Yeah, I don't think he ever recovered from that. Friends with school shooters. It's only resurfacing, obviously, with all the new talk surrounding this assassination. And they're framing this as it's not just words; this is somehow a strategy. And they're saying this because just 2 weeks before the murder, Walz held a rally where he told Democrats to stop being nice, get meaner. Y'all, look at it for yourself.
Called out on this because I called Donald Trump a wannabe dictator. It's because he is. It's because he is. Oh. The governor's being mean, and the governor's speaking out on that. Well, maybe it's time for us to be a little meaner. Maybe it's time for us to be a little more fierce. Because we have to ferociously push back on this. And again, I'll speak to my teacher colleagues in here. The thing that bothers a teacher more than anything is to watch a bully, to watch this bully and to stop it. And when it's a child, you talk to them and you tell them why bullying's wrong. But when it's adult like Donald Trump, you bully the shit out of him back. You push back. You make sure they know it's not there. Called out on this.
Yeah, this kind of rhetoric might sound tough during the campaign season, but when your people are dying, words like that start to feel like marching orders. Is it possible that somebody took his advice literally? And it gets worse. They weren't just angry. They were ready to vanish. When police pulled over Jenny Bolter, listen to what they found.
Tom Hauser, and Tom has new information from multiple law enforcement sources about Belter's wife being detained today, Tom.
Belters. Oh, okay. Y'all will be mad at me. I already know in the comments about to go, you getting her name? I'm sorry.
Yeah, I've been working the phones for several hours, as you know, trying to track this down while we were all covering the manhunt here in the Twin Cities this morning. Sources tonight tell me the case was also taking a turn about 90 minutes to the north near Onamia in Mille Lacs County. Multiple law enforcement sources with direct knowledge of what happened tell 5 Eyewitness News there was a traffic stop at a convenience store near Onamia. Between 10 and 11 a.m. this morning, law enforcement made a traffic stop involving a vehicle carrying several relatives of Vance Bolter, including his wife. We have talked to an eyewitness who says about a dozen law enforcement squads converged on the vehicle and remained on the scene for 2 to 3 hours. We are also told by several of our sources the vehicle contained a weapon, ammunition, cash, and passports. Now, to our knowledge, no one in that group has been arrested, just detained for questioning. It's also unclear why they were stopped, whether they were being tracked, or if it was a random traffic stop. I am told briefings about this incident are ongoing yet tonight, and we will continue to track more developments. And again, sources say Vance Bolter's wife is among those detained for questioning. And I did have one source very late in the evening, just before the newscast, say that she was being tracked. So this was not a random traffic stop. They had an idea of where she was, and they were able to track her down. Again, we're still gathering more details, and we'll have much more coming up tomorrow.
Tom Hauser reporting.
And nobody knows where he is tonight?
No, he is still at large.
Okay.
So they found weapons, large sum of cash, 2 passports, no return plan. You know what that says to me? That's not panic. That's preparation. This was a planned exit strategy from how I'm gauging it. How many days were they planning it? And more importantly, who helped them? And just when you thought we had the full story, this happens. So this is Bolter's roommate and was the last known person to receive a message from him before he went off the grid. When he was asked to share what it said, he refused. Not out of respect, though. Just refused. Something,
Okay, can I?
It was, David and Ron, I love you guys. I made some choices, and you guys don't know anything about this, but I'm going to be gone for a while. Sorry. Maybe dead shortly. So I just want to let you know that I love you guys both, and I wish it hadn't gone this way. I don't want to say anything more and implicate you in any way, because you guys don't know anything about this. But I love you guys, and I'm sorry for all the trouble this has caused.
Who was the other recipient?
Ron Ramsey. It's another friend. He doesn't live in the state.
Got it.
And he's going to move up here.
So you two were his 2 best friends?
Yeah.
Is there a photo of your phone screen?
Yeah, I just don't want Jenny seeing it splashed on the...
Yeah, I mean, we wouldn't run it big, but I mean, just
yeah, it's alright. I read it. That's
okay. That's
more
fine.
than I
What time was
okay.
that?
Totally okay.
What time was that text?
I think it was 6:17
a.m.
Yeah.
today.
Yeah.
Sorry, I just got over here. What did the text say?
Judy missed it. I can't read it again. It takes too much out of me. But yeah, I mean, well, you understand the text. I mean, he was a loving, caring guy. You know, loved his family, loved his friends, and loved God, and I don't know why he did what he did. It's just, it's not Vance. No one will believe this. No one that grew up. He had lots of friends, trust me. I wish I could have been there. Stop him.
So this isn't just about a protest slogan, no kings. This is about the tight web between political rhetoric, government connections, and daily outcomes. So here's the question. If the shooter worked for a Republican governor, would this already be spent different? Think about that and drop your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, man. We don't do cover-ups. We do clarity. Y'all be safe. Go check on somebody today. You could be saving their life. Peace.